You're watching the ACC on ESPN. From Littlejohn Coliseum in Clemson, South Carolina, it's the 19th ranked Tigers taking on the Hokies from Virginia Tech. And welcome everybody. Along with Corey Alexander, I'm Doug Sherman. Angel Gray will join us shortly. And if you look at the standings right now, Clemson is in first place in the ACC, which is not where they were expected to be coming into the year. You see, they were number 11 preseason, and in spite of having lost their last time out, they are still setting the pace in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Meanwhile, for the Hokies, they found themselves in a similar situation a year ago, and yet somehow, Corey, they were able to figure it out and turn things around.
They absolutely turned it around. You're talking about the ACC tournament champions a year ago who finished the season at 13-2 in their last 15 games, and it all started at Florida State. Going into that game at 2-7, they were able to knock down 18 threes as a team. Hunter Couture was responsible for 9 of those himself and got them going. And to our third member, who is the flyest of them all today, Angel Gray, take it away.
Guys, I'm just trying to keep up with you, but they will have to. The Tigers will have to go with that. Their second leading scorer as well as their assist leader in Chase Hunter tonight due to a foot injury that he suffered against Duke. I am told he is day to day. The team is optimistic about his return. The biggest question coming into this one, though, Corey, not only how does the Tigers bounce back after suffering their first conference loss, but how they do so without their floor general. Chase Hunter is a conductor and a big reason of how they got things going early in this season.
Angel, I would not say that Chase Hunter is the best player for the Clemson Tigers, but he's the most important player for the Clemson Tigers.
And so Clemson goes into war once again without 2 of its starting guards as Alex Hemingway continues to sit with plantar fasciitis. And so that means number 0, Grant Basile, has even more on his plate here again tonight, Corey.
It does, and you see early trying to get P.J. Hall established on the inside. He'll have the basketball in his hands a lot, as will this guy, Hunter Tyson, who is playing at a first-team All-ACC level.
He sure is. 15.8 points per game, over 10 rebounds per game. Here he comes to the basketball. Instead, Shefflin gives it off to P.J. Hall, who has to fire away with the shot clock going on. And here is Sean Padula at the point, the 7th leading scorer in the ACC at over 16 points per game. And he's got an awful lot on his plate, Corey.
He absolutely does. He thought he was going to get some help from Rodney Rice, who injured his fingers. Justyn Mutts lines up the 3, unable to knock it down. Rice only playing 1 game in the Syracuse game, injuring his finger, having finger surgery, so most likely won't be available at least until the ACC tournament.
Yeah, Rodney had surgery yesterday. We know he's watching from Blacksburg.
Best wishes to my guy. From my understanding, he was playing great basketball, especially in practice.
Good to see Hunter Couture back. He is such a key part for the Hokies. Misfiring on his first attempt from the floor. Shefflin in the paint, left it short. Nice job walling up and grabbing that rebound for Grant Basile. Now the Hokies walk it up. Darius Maddox around and out. Good box out by P.J. Hall.
Right now it's been a lid on the basket for both teams, still scoreless. But you see Clemson wanting to play through the post. Shefflin getting his opportunities.
Padula with a burst off the steal. And the seal is broken. The Hokies on the board first.
And speaking of playing great basketball, Sean Padula has been doing so all season long for the Hokies. Every game he's been in double figures, but ran into a buzzsaw in Kihei Clark last time out against Virginia.
This is the second meeting of the year between these two schools. Clemson won at Virginia Tech back in early January in a 3-point ball game. Brevin Galloway somehow found a teammate. P.J. Hall able to finish the play.
And the soft touch for P.J. Hall. And we talk about injuries. P.J. Hall recovering from 2 injuries over the summer and the fall. Still trying to get himself back into 100% shape.
Well, he put 26 on Duke on the 14th, and then on Tuesday at Wake Forest, he went for 22. Sounds like he's coming along.
He's coming along. You mentioned it, 48 points in the last 2 games for P.J. Hall. And right now, Brad Brownell going to play through him, one of the very few guys that physically can match with Justyn Mutts, as Mutts tries to get the call, but unable to do so. Picking up a flop technical foul, and so that will be a free throw for the Tigers.
And there is the 13th-year head coach here at Clemson University. Has his team off to a 15-4 start. They have won 13 in a row here at Little John, including 10-0 this season, and that 7-0 start to conference play. The best in program history. They've only won one regular season championship in the ACC, and that was 33 years ago, Corey.
Yeah, and again, when you think about that year, if you look back, you're talking about Dale Davis. You got a squad of, 1990 team you're talking about, and these guys were spectacular. Eldon Campbell had just moved on.
Yep.
But when you go back and look at the bigs that have played at Clemson, it is a special group. Horace Grant, Tree Rollins, the list goes on. My big fella, Sharon Wright. And add this guy into the mix. P.J. Hall, who continues to cement himself as one of the better big men in Clemson basketball history.
The junior from Spartanburg. He and the Tigers on top 4-2 early. Tyson all over Maddox. Shot clock under 10. Padula probing on the switch. Shoots the three.
Dougie Fresh is a small thing, but you see how P.J. Hall is able to switch out on the guards and contest their shots. Even guys like Padula who are great off the dribble. That's what makes him so valuable, not just what he does offensively.
Galloway slams on the brakes and gets the friendly roll. Hokies off to a slow start from the floor today. 0 for 4 on three-pointers until there. Not surprisingly, it's Grant Basile making nearly 40% of his threes on the year to make it 7-5 Clemson.
And Basile adds that dimension that Virginia Tech had a year ago with Keve Aluma to be able to stretch the floor at the 5 position.
Nice pass, mishandled though, and lost out of bounds by R.J. Godfrey. Well, in the first game between these two teams back in early January, Corey, 5 Tigers reached double digits. Hunter Tyson led the way with 13 points, 14 rebounds. They're going for what would be the first ever series sweep in a regular season matchup between the two, but the physicality in that game was a problem for Virginia Tech.
It was that, and that's one thing for certain that Mike Young does not like, is for people to be more physical than his team, especially in Castle Coliseum on their home floor. Something that Coach Young has talked to his team about, made sure that they were prepared for the level of physicality coming here to Little John.
And in that game, they shot only 28% on twos, and that's the worst of the Mike Young era. This is year number 4. For the head coach of the Hokies, has his team trying to snap a 6-game losing streak. Alexander on Doug Sherman and Angel Gray as well in this matchup of great importance for both these teams. Clemson looking to get back into the win column and maintain sole possession of first place in the ACC. Meanwhile, the Hokies are in the midst, Corey, of their longest losing streak in 8 years, but all is not lost for Virginia Tech at this point.
And this Virginia Tech team is a team that's much better than their record. And when you look at the fact that these guys have struggled in ACC play, you also take into account that they've been here before. This is a team that was 2-7 to start the season a year ago in ACC play, went on to win 13 of their last 15 games, including winning the ACC tournament. So Mike Young not hitting the panic button yet, but he says time is running out. And of course, we got a third member, Angel Gray, talking to us about the Clemson Tigers.
Absolutely will, guys. The Tigers are going to have to go without their second leading scorer and their assist leader in Chase Hunter due to a foot injury that he suffered against Duke. I am told he is day-to-day. They are optimistic about his return. But the biggest question coming into this one, Corey, obviously was not only how do the Tigers bounce back after suffering their first conference loss, but how they do so without their floor general, a very intricate piece to their success this season. Chase Hunter, the conductor. That's the nickname I have given him because he controls so many different things on this floor, Corey.
I love it. Angel's already throwing out nicknames. He's giving people nicknames, all that. I can appreciate that. But and Chase Hunter may not be the best player on this Clemson team, but he may be the most important player on this Clemson team right now.
Well, let's show you what you missed P.J. Hall doing what he has been doing lately for Clemson.
48 points in the last 2 games for P.J. Hall. Continues to be a force on the block. Very few guys can physically contend with Justyn Mutts when they catch the ball with their back to the basket. However, P.J. Hall has had success here early.
Yeah, the junior from Spartanburg, South Carolina, as you said, 48 points the last 2 games, 26 against Duke on the 14th, 22 on Tuesday in the loss at Wake Forest. And so far in this matchup, it's been a complete contrast in styles. 5 3-point shots have been taken by Tech, none so far by Clemson. Hokies try to go inside unsuccessfully and turn it over.
And that's not something you see a lot of from Virginia Tech. 6 nationally, only 9.9 turnovers a game, but it turns into a bucket for Hunter Tyson, who is playing first team all ACC type basketball.
It's almost right on cue. The Hokies go inside. It doesn't work. And for the first time, Clemson goes outside. And as you mentioned, Hunter Tyson making 42% from beyond the arc this year, knocks down his first today.
But his points off turnovers, Hunter Tyson is playing aggressive basketball. Talking to Brad Brownell, he loves the confidence Hunter's playing with this year, and he knew he was capable of it. Without injuries, he's played great basketball, but now playing healthy, getting the job done.
Basile no. Hall with another rebound. Yeah, Hunter Tyson, second in the ACC, 7th in the nation with his 10 and counting double-doubles. Godfrey, no. Padula and Couture in the backcourt. Basile and Mutts, along with Darius Maddox, who sets a screen for Hunter Couture.
But you see, the ability to be able to switch makes Clemson so different. P.J. Hall coming in, thinking that he had a good block on that possession, as Virginia Tech tries to take advantage of the switch. But you see Brad Brownell defensively switching everything, forcing Virginia Tech to have to make individual plays or punish a mismatch on the block.
Here's the 13th-year head coach, former standout player at Division III DePaul University in his home state of Indiana, although he has picked up a southern drawl over the last 13-14 years.
Well, you have to remember, he started his head coaching career at UNC Wilmington, so he's been in the South for quite a bit of time now.
His other coaching stop was at Wright State. Padula flips up a wild shot looking for the foul call that doesn't come. Here's Beadle, the redshirt freshman. Bullet pass inside. Middlebrooks no. Trying again. Keeps it alive to himself. Finally, coming in to finish the play is R.J. Godfrey.
That goes back to the physicality that you spoke about. 3 opportunities for Clemson on the offensive glass, and they have been quicker and stronger to finish than have the Hokies.
Well, Middlebrooks is every bit of 242, and then Godfrey doesn't look like your usual freshman, 6'7", 225. That's coming off the bench for the Tigers. You had a little conversation with that young man, Lynn Kidd, right before this ball game.
I sure did. Interesting matchup. Lynn Kidd, who reclassed up, missed his senior year of high school to come to Clemson, transferring to Virginia Tech. This is the first time he will see action on this court at Littlejohn as an opponent in comparison to being a member of the Clemson Tigers. And he had a little extra motivation in this game.
Middlebrooks.
One thing for certain, we knew it was going to be physical in this game as Beadle gets inside and finds Middleburg, who's unable to finish on the first one. But Middlebrooks continues to stay with it, the second chance, and then Godfrey coming in with the finish. And here's a guy that's no stranger to the Clemson grit, the Clemson physicality, Lynn Kidd, the transfer to Virginia Tech. But he cut his teeth here at Littlejohn as a freshman.
Well, he likely would have redshirted if not for the extra COVID year. He played only 7 games for Brad Brownell, had a concussion, and it just never came together here at Clemson, and he has really taken that big step this year. Here is Kidd. 4 to shoot. Couture with the runner, and it's a wedgie.
It's a soft wedgie, though.
It is.
That's it. You know, I mean, soft wedgie, you see how easily they were able to get that out of the rim? That's not a tough wedge. You don't need to use the fist to get that out of there. You can just use the hands and tap that one away.
If they didn't have somebody else get that ball down, I was going to go.
You on your way?
Yeah.
You know, I thought about that. You talked to me earlier about your dunking ability. Were you able to dunk a tennis ball and you could rattle home a volleyball? Never dunked a basketball.
Nope.
But I think you could have got that wedgie out of there.
Here's Justyn Mutts. Wraparound pass. Lynn Kidd with 4 quick points off the bench for Tech.
Yeah, Lynn Kidd coming in being a difference maker just like that. Now it's a 1-point game because of back-to-back buckets.
McCory in his first 2 years, 1 at Clemson, 1 at Tech, he scored a total of 15 points. Now this season he's at 104 points and counting. There's a nice looking touch on the turnaround by R.J. Godfrey.
Rarely do you see teams in the ACC challenge Justyn Mutts on the interior. But right now, Clemson has won that battle with a number of different players going at Mutts on the block.
Hokies have begun to heat up, making their last 3 from the floor. Mutts denied. Godfrey with a rejection.
And Clemson has numbers right now with Mutts behind.
Inside they go. Swing to the corner. Shot fake for Tyson after the flyby. And the long rebound comes to Virginia Tech.
Missed opportunity for the Clemson Tigers on that possession. Mutts was behind the play. Hunter Tyson got a great look.
Maddox with a quick release. Off the back iron. Godfrey had a shot at it, kept it alive. Clemson basketball.
Darius Maddox is doing a little more of what Mike Young has asked him. Be aggressive, shoot the basketball. Feels like he's been very comfortable since coming back from the break.
Hunter Tyson with his second bucket.
That's Hunter on Hunter crime right there. We've got Hunter Tyson going up against Hunter Couture. These two guys mixing it up on the block. And Dougie Fresh, one thing we've got to note, Sean Padula taking a break for the first time in 4 games. This is the first time he's been out of the game as MJ Collins steps up and knocked down the big 3.
And there are lots of folks from Clover, South Carolina, rooting on that young man. The freshman who grew up just a couple of hours from here told us this morning he's got over 20 family and friends who have made the trip to Clemson.
Well, you know he's got to put on there. No choice other than to have a great showing when you've got all those people coming to watch you play. And I believe we've got another flop. Technical on Collins on that possession.
Our second of the ball game, and it takes us to our second media timeout. 16-14 Clemson.
Win. When he saw the crowd rushing the floor, he said, we have to expect this, telling his team, if we want to take the next step as a group, we have to understand how we need to be a powerhouse in this conference, and expecting those type of wins, guys.
Yeah, you can expect it all you want. They're going to rush the floor when you beat Duke. I don't care what the record is. It's going to happen here. And, of course, Little John Coliseum, one of the most difficult places to play in the ACC. That goes way back before I played college basketball. But when I was playing, this was always a tough place to play.
Back in the black and white days.
You know, well, again, remember, you're older than me. So whatever you say,
my games are only on
bounces
radio.
off me and sticks to you, buddy.
Padula absorbs the contact. Didn't finish the play, but that's something with his bigger upper body. He has put on good weight this year to be able to do that sort of thing.
He absolutely has. Much stronger and playing like it this season as he's been, my opinion, the most improved player in the ACC.
Well, he's one of the few players in the country who has taken a double-figure jump in scoring average from year to year. He's up more than 10 points per game, and part of that is opportunity with Storm Murphy moving on. But part of it is he's just better than he was a year ago as a freshman.
So we got a coach's box warning on Brad Brownell. Doug Sermon's making sure he goes over, and I can respect the fact that Doug Sermon's, Roger Ayers, they've been very communicative with us, making sure we know everything that's going on. They make us look like we actually know what's going on.
You need all the help you can get.
I absolutely do. I did not go to officiating school.
2 to shoot. Galloway steps around the defender and does a good job just to get it on the rim. Hokies basketball down by 3, just over 9 remaining in the first half. Padula crosses over the defender, dumps it off, and there is a foul that will send Lynn Kidd to the free throw line to shoot 2. On our big Monday ACC Big 12 college basketball doubleheader on ESPN and the app, Duke travels to Blacksburg to take on these Virginia Tech Hokies at 7 o'clock Eastern, and then we'll take you to Waco for Keontae George and number 21 Baylor squaring off against Jalen Wilson and number 2 Kansas. Wilson was the only Jayhawk to do anything on offense today. they got absolutely throttled by TCU.
Well, and that's 2 losses this week for the Kansas Jayhawks, correct? They
yes.
lost at Kansas State earlier. My guy, Keontae Johnson, getting the job done at K-State. Jerome Tang doing a great job. Lynn Kidd getting a large ovation from the Virginia Tech faithful behind the bench here, applauding his performance thus far in what would be a homecoming.
Dylan Hunter, while his older brother sits with the injury, getting more extended run, and P.J. Hall spinning and glancing at the Hokies bench.
Dangerous. If he's doing that, we really have a problem. The ACC has a problem if P.J. Hall is stepping out and knocking down the 3-ball.
Well, he was a top 50 recruit nationally coming in. This has been expected, and it's been coming. And like you said, now that he's healthy or close to healthy, it's really starting to come together.
Yeah, and he picks up the foul there, battling on the block, getting the basketball back, continuing to try to fight around.
This is Dylan Hunter, 6'3.5" freshman from Atlanta, out of Sunrise Christian Academy. Also into the game, Chauncey Wiggins, who had a breakthrough performance in Tuesday's game at Wake Forest. Played 30 minutes, career-high 10 points, 3 of 5 from the arc. Dylan Hunter inside. Shefflin. I like the things that young man does around the paint.
But one of the things you continue to see is a concerted effort from Brad Brownell and the Tigers to throw the basketball inside to force the Hokies to have to guard their interior players.
Mutts pass knocked away, but it'll stay at this end, where a little magic has just happened during this timeout. Corey Alexander, I know I've never made a 94-foot putt, and I've never made a putt for $10,000, but it just happened.
Well, I'm not sure if this young man did before, but he did when it matters. And you see the jubilee, the excitement, 10 grand in his hand, give me my money.
Apparently it's got to go for tuition, not for having a party tonight.
I mean, it depends on how they give it to you. Cash at me, homie.
10 grand. Justyn Mutts to the left hand. The versatility of the young man from Millville, New Jersey on display once again.
That's a big bucket. Virginia Tech needed that because they needed to show that they were going to match the physicality of Clemson. And then Mutts doing the job defensively as well, coming up with the steal.
That bucket, their first in over 3 minutes. Here's Mutts moving the basketball, gets it back from Couture. Here goes Couture off the bounce, trying to get to the baseline.
Loving the Hunter-on-Hunter matchup.
Padula. I love the rebounding chase we've got for the title in the ACC. 3-man race between Jesse Edwards from Syracuse, Hunter Tyson for Clemson, and Armando Bacot for North Carolina. I asked Hunter Tyson this morning, would you like to win it? He said, I'm not even thinking about it. But it's a great 3-man race, over 10 per game.
I love the match. I love the race. But I must add the asterisks in the race.
For?
You do realize that Armando Bacot only played 1 minute against Virginia.
That's true. That does hurt the average.
That does hurt the average significantly.
No question.
He had 1 rebound in that game. If not for that, he would have had a double-figure rebounds because he gets double-figure rebounds every game. And so he would be far away in the league.
Just got to work a little harder the rest of the year.
Yeah, I mean, it's motivation. But I love the fact that Hunter Tyson, as he comes up with another rebound, is getting the job done from the 3, the small forward position. That's even more impressive that he's going out averaging double-figure rebounds from the wing.
But he said this morning it's actually easier for him from the wing. He can see what's going on and get a running start. And his numbers have just jumped. For more on Hunter, let's go to Angel.
You just saw the numbers on the side of the screen, but how about having the respect from your head coach? Brownell said he's just a grown man. He comes in, he gets a cup of coffee, and he's in here an hour and 15 minutes before he even lifts. So he was just talking about just sitting down, making his oatmeal, drinks a cup of coffee like a grown man, and he's been able to play like it all season. They trust him, and they definitely want to see him progress as the season goes on.
That sounds like your routine. You drink coffee, right?
Every day.
Do you eat oatmeal?
Not usually.
Not usually? coffee and, breakfast is at another coming in city. That sounds like a old man, not a grown man.
That's all right. Whatever works for you.
Absolutely. It's working for Hunter Tyson. No question about that.
Hunter Couture is yet to score tonight for Virginia Tech. 10 to shoot. Mutts working on the freshman Shefflin. Lynn Kidd, a little strong on that shot.
If my memory serves me correctly, P.J. Hall and Lynn Kidd were in the same class coming to Clemson. Those guys possibly roommates back in the day, now battling against each other here in opposite uniforms.
And either way, they certainly would have squared off in practice every day for a whole year when Lynn Kidd was a freshman with the Tigers, making his return to Littlejohn Coliseum. Instead, wearing the Chicago maroon and burnt orange 3-ball. First of the night for Couture.
And a beautiful dime cross-court hook pass from Justyn Mutts. And I love the way Hunter Couture was already prepared to shoot the basketball as soon as it touched his hands.
And that's not unusual for Justyn Mutts, among the best passers in the ACC, over 4 dimes per game.
But he was waiting for the exact moment. He watched Brevin Galloway sink in too far to where he could not contest Hunter Couture's shot, and then immediately delivers on a dime right into Hunter's shooting pocket.
I love the way Mike Young describes Hunter Couture. Quote, he's tough as a pine knot. In his usual homespun Radford, Virginia charm. And he is playing through a painful arm injury that kept him on the sideline for 4 games. P.J. Hall draws the foul with just under 5 minutes remaining in the half. Tomorrow, we'll have an ACC women's basketball matinee on ABC and the ESPN app. Diamond Johnson leads number 20 NC State against Haley Van Lith and Louisville. Coverage begins at 1 Eastern on ABC and the ESPN app. Johnson leading the team in 3-point shooting percentage.
Amazing to see that graphic when you watch Louisville's women's basketball program without a number beside it, meaning they're not ranked. You're talking about one of the best programs in the country, not just in the ACC, which, by the way, happens to be loaded
deep
on the women's basketball side. NC State, who's the 3-time reigning ACC tournament champion, they're 20th. They're like 4th or 5th in the ACC right now. You're talking about Virginia Tech. You got Notre Dame, so many different programs who have made the ascent this year on the women's basketball side of the ACC.
8 teams right now from the ACC on the women's side are in the bracket.
Should be at least 8 or 9 on the men's side, but, we'll get into that later.
P.J. Hall makes a pair of free throws. He's now got 9 points to go along with 3 rebounds to lead all scores. The Clemson lead back to 3.
Nice find.
Lynn Kidd on the reverse off the feed from Mutts. Give him another assist.
It's just smart basketball, though. Justyn Mutts recognizing the defender on the outside. Hunter Couture throwing it to the top of the key. The easy high-low pass for Lynn Kidd, who has his 3rd field goal here in this homecoming.
Well, he's got 8 points, well on his way to a new career high as we get closer to halftime. Whistle on the drive by Galloway.
As Hunter Couture looks to see if he can get the basketball inside the Kidd, Justyn Mutts knows that as soon as he catches the basketball, he's going to go high-low with Kidd because the defenders are on the top side. The easy opportunity to lay up in a 1-point game for Virginia Tech.
Let's go back to Angel.
Guys, here's a stat for you. Lynn Kidd, through his first 2 seasons, had a combined 15 points. In this season alone, he is already at 100. So when you talk about a player that has put in the work, you already mentioned he may have a little juice behind it too, returning back to Clemson, but this is a player that has been dialed in all season.
Angel, and I went to him before the game, and I said, hey, you got anything on being back here in Littlejohn? And he said, business as usual. I said, any extra added motivation? And he wanted to say the right thing, Angel, but I'm giving them the look. And he says, a little bit. Yeah. He had to admit there was a little extra fire in this game.
Foul on the post entry. And he's out of IMG, and we talked about the development of Lynn Kidd. He was on a loaded roster where he was a backup behind guys like Zach Edey. I mean, he didn't play a ton And he classed up, he reclassed, and again, his development, everybody's on a different pace. You got to run your own race, and for Lynn Kidd, it seems to be coming together this year.
But Lynn Kidd, another one of the guys who's come to Virginia Tech and spent some time on the bench watching the system, and then once they got their opportunity to play, coming in and being productive. Keve Aluma comes to mind as Galloway turns it over.
Padula. That puts the Hokies in front, 26-25. Meanwhile, the Tigers have been without a field goal for more than 4 minutes now, Corey.
The three-point field goal is so important for Virginia Tech. Now 4 for 10 from beyond the arc. Take their first lead here in the first half. And Sean Padula playing with tremendous confidence.
We'll be back in 30 seconds.
You know, Dallin, I was thinking about it and just completely eliminating Dougie Fresh from this broadcast, but he's my guy. Just like you and Jordan Cornette, who are rocking the hair now. When I met these guys, Doug, they were both baldish. Now they both rocking the fades. Not only do I feel partly responsible, I feel proud to see my guys rocking the hair on TV.
What is bald-ish?
Well, it's when you're trying to decide whether your hairline has gone too far back for you to wear your hair.
Gotcha.
Or if you can still get away with it.
Gotcha.
You know, and right now both my guys rocking the hair, proud of them both.
Thankfully, that's not something you or I worry too much about. Yeah?
I'm not going to say that, you know, I don't worry about it. It's coming. It's going to happen, so I don't worry about it because it's inevitable.
Well, among the things we saw in the graphic coming back and what the guys in studio were talking about is that Virginia Tech takes care of the basketball. They've only turned it over 3 times, Corey. They are 6th in the country in fewest turnovers per game.
But 7 assists on 10 made field goals, sharing the basketball. And, of course, that is just a byproduct of Mike Young basketball. Another good look for Hunter Couture, unable to knock it down, but great offensive movement for the Hokies.
P.J. Hall with his 4th rebound. He's got the basketball now, tries to pass inside, but Basile knocks it away. 7th Clemson turnover. Padula. Bullet pass. Mutts with a layup.
The patience. Sean Padula unable to be sped up. He knew he had killed his own dribble, but yet still not going to put himself in a tough predicament. Stays patient, makes the right play, even under duress. Sean Padula catches himself in the painted area, yet multiple pump fakes, and there was so much action going on. P.J. Hall kind of caught in between as to where he needed to be defensively. Justyn Mutts finds the open spot in the easy bucket. Oh, I thought it was another dime. Ends up being a turnover.
Great recovery defensively by Hunter Tyson for the steal. Here's Galloway on his 3rd stop in college, most recently Boston College. Godfrey back out front, finds Hall for 3. Long rebound. Tyson went after it, but Padula's got it for the Hokies. Padula lost it. Beadle after it. Padula gets it back. No change of possession. Shot clock down under 20. Couture. Basile. Chance for 3. And Padula back at midcourt holding his head after that scrum for the basketball.
Sean Padula getting on the floor, gaining possession for his team. And, of course, for Virginia Tech, you have to be aware of Hunter Couture and his ability. You see Sean Padula not wanting to turn over, diving on the floor. And then as Hunter Couture gets the basketball, he's such a dangerous shooter. The pump fake gets 2 Tigers in the air, opening up Grant Basile for the bucket and the harm.
The grad transfer from Wright State University now with those 7 points. And it's a 6-point Tech lead. Virginia Tech has not won a game in over a month, Corey. Not since they beat Grambling State way back on December the 17th. Hokies hoping to get that elusive win here tonight at Clemson. Our big Monday ACC Big 12 college basketball doubleheader is a good one on ESPN and the ESPN app. Duke travels to Blacksburg to take on the Hokies at 7 Eastern, and then we'll take you to Waco. Number 21 Baylor squaring off against number 2 Kansas. Duke defeated number 17 Miami this afternoon 68-66. And Corey, it was so good to see Derek Lively have a big game off the bench for the Blue Devils. 10 rebounds, 5 block shots, 6 points.
Derek Lively has played through injuries. Of course, he missed a tremendous amount of the preseason this year. But he will be very important for the Blue Devils going down the stretch this season, more because of his rim protection and defense than his scoring.
Held ball. And the possession arrow goes the other way. It'll be Clemson possession. Corey, the Tigers' last field goal was at the 7:57 mark. That is now 7 minutes ago.
Yeah, we watched Virginia Tech go through a drought very similar here in this first half. But the Hokies have found the rhythm on offensively, and they've picked it up on the defensive end as well.
Shefflin, a little strong. Tyson had it for a moment, but then knocked away by M.J. Collins. Final 30 seconds of the half. Kidd sets the screen for Padula. Here's Mutts, feeds inside.
Come on, man, look at the pass.
Blocked by Hall. Plenty of time on the clock for the Tigers. Foul off the ball as Hall and Kidd came together. That's on Lynn Kidd.
The official's going to go look at this one. Doug Sermon's right on top of it and immediately said, we're going to go look at this. As you see Lynn Kidd standing up P.J. Hall from that angle. It's difficult to see how high that elbow came. But if it does make contact above the neck, and it does not, looks like he got him in the shoulder, I believe that would just be a common foul, because if that elbow was above the neck, that would be a flagrant foul. But I think that's just going to be a common foul. It looks as though that elbow Lynn Kidd hit him squarely in the shoulder.
I agree with the CA. I think it's going to be just a common foul, the second personal on Lynn Kidd, who has been so good for the Hokies so far tonight.
He has been. And Lynn Kidd, of course, he's heard about the physicality of Clemson. And you see he wants to make sure that he provides as well. Okay, so it is actually going to be a flagrant one, simply because Doug Sermons and Roger Ayers going over looking at it felt like that it was excessive and not an unnecessary. So that will be a flagrant one against Lynn Kidd. And that's a momentum breaker, honestly, for Virginia Tech, because it gives Clemson an opportunity to score 2 points at the free throw line, but also get the basketball back with 7.4 remaining and try to cut into this 6-point lead.
And here is P.J. Hall out of Dorman High School, Spartanburg, South Carolina. Last year, honorable mention, all ACC. And he was the runner-up to Darion Sebron, North Carolina State, for the most improved player in the Atlantic Coast Conference. He gets 1 out of 2 from the line. He's into double figures. And that snaps an 8-0 Virginia Tech run.
But more importantly, the basketball back and the opportunity to put points on the board right here to cut into this Virginia Tech lead.
Galloway lobs it in. Hall gives it back to Galloway. 3 seconds. 2 seconds. Galloway runs into his teammate and is called for traveling.
And I love that call. I love that call because it was him running into his teammate. Now, there was contact with Virginia Tech, but because it was Galloway running into the back of Hunter Tyson, it's called a travel. And even though Hunter Couture does give Hunter Tyson a little bit of a shove right there, I'm not sure it's enough for that type of reaction.
That is the 9th turnover of the first half for Clemson. Padula's heave falls short, and that is the end of the first half with the Hokies on the move with a 5-point lead.
And a strong turnaround for Virginia Tech to end the first half, gaining a 5-point lead after struggling to score midway through. They were able to get together offensively and defensively as well.
Let's go to Angel.
Coach, let's talk offense first. She went on an 8-0 run to regain the league, and that's in the first half. But you have also 4 of your starters that have already knocked down a 3-point shot. So when you're looking at the execution, what do you like most?
Angel, okay. All right. We had a couple of really bad miscues in transition, bad shot selection, a couple of very uncharacteristic turnovers. But all in all, I thought we competed on that end, and we had some good high-low stuff with Mutts and the post players. Most impressed and pleased with what we did on the defensive end. I thought we guarded Clemson, who's quite good offensively, P.J. Hall and others. So a long way to go.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Angel.
And indeed, the Tigers with no field goals in the final 7:57 of the half. 31-26 our halftime score. Virginia Tech on top of first place Clemson. Let's send it to Jordan, Sean, and Dallin back in the studio.
Oh, my guys.
Back in Tiger Town as the Clemson Tigers trail Virginia Tech 31-26, moments away from the start of the second half. With Corey Alexander and Angel Gray, I'm Doug Sherman. Welcome back, everybody. Clemson's had control for the first 13-14 minutes of that half, but then the switch just flipped there, Corey.
The switch flipped simply because of the defense of Virginia Tech. They were great defensively, and their offense really got them started on that. But you talk about the start for the Clemson Tigers. It had to do with P.J. Hall getting off to a great start. Great touch around the rim. He was able to attack the basket. He dominated the paint early and even stepped out, knocked down a 3-ball. 10 points for P.J. Hall in the first half to go along with his 5 rebounds. But Virginia Tech was able to steady the ship from beyond the 3-point line. Grant Basile getting involved in the action. M.J. Collins knocking down a 3. And then, of course, the usual suspects, Hunter Couture and Sean Padula, getting involved in the mix as well. And Angel Gray had an opportunity to talk with Brad Brownell to talk about his first half.
Well, Corey, we asked the question at the beginning of the game, how this team was going to execute without Chase Hunter. Coach Brownell told me the exact same thing, and it was alluding to his team, the same question. He said, we're playing like a team with no quarterback. He's not thrilled with the 9 turnovers, but on the flip side, he said defensively, we were able to do a few good things. He's proud of how they're able to fly off the ball and able to put a little bit more pressure on them, but the main objective in this half is to play better together and limit turnovers.
Well, the Tigers in that first half, Angel, only 9 of 27 shooting. Those 9 turnovers you're talking about, which were turned into 9 points by Tech. And the Tigers just went stone cold. No field goals over the last 8 minutes of that first half.
And that's where your point guard becomes most important when things aren't going your way. You've got to have that guy who settles things down and recognizes exactly who he needs to get the basketball in the hands of or take it upon themselves.
Basile. And again, Clemson playing without 2 of its starting guards because of injury. Chase Hunter and Alex Hemingway, who has been out much longer because of plantar fasciitis. And Beadle on cue turns it over.
And that's Beadle's first turnover from the point guard position between Beadle and Dylan Hunter. 0 for 2 from the field, both 3 field goal attempts, 2 assists, and that's the first turnover as you see Dylan Hunter immediately checking into the game for Josh Beadle. And one of the things that Brad Brownell has talked to his young point guards about, the redshirt freshman in Beadle, the freshman in Dylan Hunter, is simply about being solid with the basketball, making the right play in comparison to trying to make a spectacular play.
And on top of the scoring both those guys bring, Chase Hunter shoots it at 40%, averaging over 14 per game. And Hemingway at 50% from beyond the arc.
Justyn Mutts now starting to assert himself in the painted area. And again, when you're able to go at P.J. Hall and win that battle, you're talking about a strong young man, but Justyn Mutts is exactly that.
6 points for Mutts. This is the largest lead of the night for either side. Hunter Tyson saves it, but out of bounds. Virginia Tech basketball. That is the 11th Clemson turnover. Well, the Tigers led by 6 in the first half. Virginia Tech led by 5 at the break. And the Hokies looking to snap a 6-game losing streak. And during that time, Sean Padula has not shot well. The team as a whole during the stretch, Corey, has not shot it well.
Well, but a lot of the reason why they haven't shot it well for those games, they missed Hunter Couture. And you consider the fact that Hunter Couture not only is their best three-point shooter, but he's also their backup point guard. As Justyn Mutts turns it over, great job defensively by P.J. Hall coming up with the steal.
Shefflin, skip pass, spotting up Dylan Hunter, no.
And it's a good look for Dylan Hunter. He's capable of making that shot, but right now Virginia Tech is going to give him those looks. They're going to make him be the guy that beats him in comparison to giving P.J. Hall opportunity to be able to work on the block.
And he is now 0 for 11 on three-point shots this year. Maddox had a quiet first half. Now he sets the screen for Padula. 3 to shoot. Padula has to fire away. Out of bounds. Whose basketball is it?
It's going to go back to Virginia Tech. A lot of that partly because of the hustle of Grant Basile going after the offensive rebound. Even though he was sandwiched in between two Tigers, that basketball actually goes out of bounds off of Hunter Tyson.
Justyn Mutts, the pass to Basile, who missed the layup. Terrific back cut, terrific pass. Possession continued, but Padula missed the 3. Trying to find Hall inside.
And you see right now P.J. Hall with a beautiful move and beats the double team. Sean Padula was coming to the top side to double team P.J. Hall. P.J. Hall recognizes it and immediately spins to the baseline. Once he gets the basketball, P.J. Hall sees the look, but he sees Sean Padula coming in on the double team. Justyn Mutts, knowing that he has help coming in, can't give up that baseline. P.J. Hall with a quick spin move, the finish, the opportunity for the and one.
Mutts joins his teammates Maddox and Kidd, each with 2 fouls. Hall continues to put numbers up. By the way, that three-point play, the first field goal since 7:57 of the first half for Clemson. And Little John comes back to life. Maddox, quick release, no.
Hunter Tyson with only 3 rebounds in that first half. You're talking about a double-digit rebounder. Now starting to flex his muscle on the glass.
Shefflin splits the double team and the whistle comes. That is number 3 on Lynn Kidd.
Once again, a concerted effort by the Tigers to throw the basketball inside. They feel that's where their advantage is against the Hokies, especially when you're considering, as you mentioned earlier, their starting backcourt both injured with Chase Hunter and Alex Hemingway. That's not the advantage for the Clemson Tigers, where they've been able to hold their own throughout the majority of the year in the backcourt, but they have an advantage in the front court, and Brad Brownell wants to make sure they get an opportunity to touch it every time down the floor.
It takes a seat with those 3 personal fouls. Shefflin with a pair of free throws. It's a 2-point game. Basile. Here come the Tigers. Galloway's fouled by Padula. First foul on Padula, third on the Hokies here in the second half.
Look at the numbers for P.J. Hall. 13 points, 3 of 8 from the field. Look at the rest of the team. Only 16 points, 6 of 21. So P.J. Hall, extremely important to the success of the Tigers.
Well, when we come back, the good-looking freshman Ian Shefflin will be at the free throw line to shoot two. Second half, it's been all Clemson so far.
It's the SEC Big 12 Challenge. Oh, my goodness!
Back and forth we go.
Boy, that is just perfect.
There's no question. We got some ballers here.
This is one of those chances to make a statement.
It is not for the faint of heart.
Got it! We got a ball game.
Should be a lot of fun with those 10 games next weekend. Corey Alexander, you're an ACC guy through and through, but can you argue against the Big 12 being the conference so far this year?
I love the Big 12 and I love the SEC. But let me tell you the reason why I love the Big 12 most. Because they play a true round robin, home and away, each team. And when you look at the SEC Big 12 teams going at it, all the ranked teams between the two conferences in this matchup would, I believe we have Kansas, Kentucky. Is that the matchup?
Not sure.
But I think there is a Kansas-Kentucky matchup, and you have, of course, two of the Blue Bloods going at it. Alabama, most likely the best team in this matchup out of both conferences right now.
Collins into the game. Clemson can take the lead. And the Tigers have had the advantage at the free throw line so far tonight, 11 of 13. The Hokies have only been there 3 times. They've made all 3, but it's a continuation, really, of the loss at Virginia on Wednesday when the Hokies only took 2 free throws, and all Coach Young said publicly afterward was the stat is incredibly interesting. What do you make of the fact that now, for the better part of 2 weeks, they've not gone to the free throw line, or 2 games they've not gone to the free throw line?
Well, I would say that the majority of their shots are jump shots. They do play inside through Justyn Mutts, so we can't say that they're completely on the perimeter. But 16 of their 35 field goal attempts have come from beyond the three-point arc.
Long rebound, Couture after it, but it's Clemson that comes away with it. Hokies only 1 for 9 shooting in the first 5 minutes of the half. Tyson to Shefflin, and the sophomore goes down after being fouled. That goes against Justyn Mutts.
Mike Young just trying to get Justyn Mutts' attention and pointing to his head, telling him be smarter. On that possession alone, Justyn Mutts can't get that foul. Now with 3 fouls, he comes out of the game. And again, he's so important and so vital to this Virginia Tech Hokies team's success. 3 fouls with 15 minutes remaining is tough to be able to navigate through.
And the Hokies have been called for 5 fouls this half. Clemson is yet to be whistled. Hunter Couture took that ball away from Ben Middlebrooks. 13th Clemson turnover. Padula into the lane. Foul. And he immediately calls his team together before heading to the free throw line. We've got some women's ACC action coming your way Thursday at 8 Eastern on ACC Network. Number 12 Virginia Tech and 13th ranked Duke square off. Elizabeth Kitley averaging 18 points, 11 rebounds, 2 block shots a game for the Hokies. Thursday, women's basketball, 8 Eastern, ACC Network.
I will be tuned in. 2 of my favorite women's college basketball coaches. Of course, my first cousin, my blood, Kenny Brooks, coaching Virginia Tech, going in to see Kara Lawson, who our colleague, and I've worked on the court a lot with Kara Lawson. And of course, Angel Gray, I'm sure, has a little bit to add on that matchup.
Well, you know I love women's basketball, especially in the ACC anyway, but just looking particularly at Virginia Tech, Duke, the last unbeaten team in the ACC, but also Virginia Tech, one of those teams that was very good last year, but even better this year. Had a lot of key players that came back. Taylor Soule coming in from Boston College. So I think it's going to be a great matchup. Kenny Brooks doing an incredible job.
And Corey, you and Kenny have a date coming up.
Yeah, tomorrow. Cowboys on. He's got a game tomorrow at 1 o'clock, though, so I'll be traveling. But Cowboys at 6 at his house. I hope he's got snacks. That's all I'm saying. Make sure he's got snacks.
If CA's coming, you got to have snacks.
Hang out with my nieces, of course, Kendall, Chloe, and Gabby. Kendall most likely will make the trip from Greensboro. My baby girl's working for the ACC now. She's all grown up on us.
That happens.
Angel used to actually babysit Chloe.
Come on.
Believe it or not, yes.
Come on.
Yes, Angel used to babysit my nieces.
I did. It was the most interesting 3 hours of my life. At that very moment, I said, you know what, I don't know if I can do this again. But now seeing them work in the ACC and then even seeing how they've been able to grow and just give so much to the women's game as well, I think it's so incredible to see how they become beautiful young ladies now.
So, Angel, you're saying it was just one and done. You babysat one time and that was it?
You'll have to say that again because I just saw an amazing block on this end.
That was an amazing block, but it ends up being a foul. And Lynn Kidd, who has been ultra aggressive here in his homecoming to Littlejohn Coliseum, looking to get into double figures. And he has been very aggressive. Part of the main reason why Virginia Tech is winning the points in the paint battle versus Clemson in a game which Clemson has featured their interior. It still has been advantage points in the paint for Virginia Tech.
Well, I mentioned one of his teammates at IMG coming up, Zach Edey. Mark Williams, Brandon Huntley-Hatfield, Jalen Johnson, Musa Diabate, just the bigs he was battling with in practice trying to get playing time.
Steal by Padula.
And he drops it off for Kidd. Taking those lessons from IMG and putting them into practice here at Clemson.
You're giving Lynn Kidd a lot of credit for Sean Padula's work. Sean Padula getting a hand in the passing lane, getting out, and then the presence of mind to recognize the shot blocker coming to get his shot, but knowing Lynn Kidd was running hard to get an opportunity for the bucket. Now offensive rebound off of a free throw. And Brad Brownell can't be happy with the effort from his team with the simple things.
Padula. Good rebound by the freshman Dylan Hunter. Here's Middlebrooks. Well, that's where you figure the shot's going to come from with this group, but Tyson can't make the shot. And Clemson stays cold here in the second half.
But without Chase Hunter on the floor, Clemson is limited offensively because there's so much more attention paid to Hunter Tyson and to P.J. Hall because they're not really guarding the guards on the perimeter, not fearful of them making three-pointers at all.
5 to shoot. Kidd gave up the dribble, brings it back out to Maddox, and he traveled. Lost his footing on the step-back attempt and turns it over. The 7th of the night for the Hokies. Timeout, 8 minutes into the second half with the Hokies up 4. JC, thanks so much. Back here in Clemson, where the Tigers at the moment are projected by Joey Brackets to be a number 8 seed. ACC well represented. And as for Virginia Tech, before the 6-game losing streak, Corey, they were up as high as a potential 6 seed. And they can still get back to that. There's a lot of time left in the season.
A lot of time left, but you have to give Virginia Tech a lot of credit for a great non-conference season. And again, when you look at what is happening all across the landscape of college basketball, conference play, in my opinion, has to be weighed heavier. And I do believe Virginia Tech will get back into the mix and get to a positive record in ACC play. But giving credit for a lot of non-conference, and I say this to other conferences, not as much to ACC, I think is a bit overblown because teams are nowhere near as good in November and December as they're going to be in March.
And Virginia Tech is coming into a tough part of the schedule. They play Duke up next, then Syracuse, then at Miami.
And Mike Young made it very clear after the game at Virginia on Wednesday, in his 4 years in ACC basketball, this is the best ACC that he's seen. From top to bottom, there are no easy wins. Well, there's one easy win in this league right now. But at the same time, you're going to have to compete everywhere you go.
Dylan Hunter off the turnover. That ends the scoring drought of over 5 minutes for Clemson, back within 2.
And Dylan Hunter playing very valuable minutes right now. Brad Brownell giving Dylan Hunter more minutes here in this second half than Josh Beadle, who started the game.
Basile's pass kicked by Shefflin.
See Dylan Hunter coming up with a nice find from P.J. Hall and finishing it off. A little bit of contact, but no foul right there. But defensively, P.J. Hall coming up with a steal. Just a sloppy pass right there from Virginia Tech, leading to offense for Clemson. And you don't want to do that because Clemson's struggling to score right now. Virginia Tech, when they set their defense, are very difficult to score against.
Ball poked away from Basile.
And there's another one of those just sloppy mishandling of the basketball that could turn into points.
Tyson off the shot fake. Into a double team. Gives it to Hall. Big to big. The Tigers respond. But we're tied at 37.
Points off turnovers.
Under 10 to shoot. Couture penetrates, dumps it off. Basile blocked by Shefflin, out of bounds.
Little John is excited, and the reason that they're excited is because the defense of the Clemson Tigers has stepped up. Shefflin coming in with the big block shot. P.J. Hall not getting the foul, something that he battled with early in his career, was getting in foul trouble. And you can see right now, Little John urging their team. 1 second on the shot clock. The Hokies don't know it. The crowd does, and they aid the Tigers, and they stop.
10th turnover committed by Tech. Well, Clemson didn't get to 15-4 on the year, 7-1 in the ACC for nothing. They have punched back and are right back in it with a chance to retake the lead. Ranked this week nationally in the AP poll for the first time in 2 years at number 19. Chauncey Wiggins has come back in for the lead. That ball goes through for Hunter Tyson. And Couture is down.
Hunter Couture took a big shot. You've got to have your teammates calling out screens, and you're not sure. It was so loud in here that the screen could have been called out, but Hunter Couture got hit blindly with the screen. And we've talked about his value to this team. Hopefully he's okay.
Roger Ayers, the official, came over to the Virginia Tech huddle to say it was clean.
But Hunter Couture getting hit with that left elbow, getting right in the mix. And it's been painful for Hunter Couture. He's playing through the pain. And Roger Ayers letting us know it's a basketball play. And it was a clean screen from P.J. Hall. And it's not, though, the screen. We don't know if the screen was called out or not. But it's so loud here in Littlejohn that he wouldn't have heard it either way, continuing just to try to defend. I'm not sure if it was anything other than that elbow, but of course, coming back from that elbow injury, which he's having to play through the pain to try to help his team win games.
So now the Hokies playing from behind for the first time since late in the first half. And they cough it up. Padula goes for the steal. Dylan Hunter gets away. Here comes P.J. Hall. Shefflin back out front. Dylan Hunter drives and finishes. Mike Young calls timeout. Number 19, Clemson, back up by 4. Clemson's rattled off the last 8 points. Corey using its defense for offense.
All 8 points are points off of turnovers. P.J. Hall coming up with the steal. Dylan Hunter attacking the basket. Then Dylan Hunter getting on the floor and finding a teammate, which leads to P.J. Hall finding Hunter Tyson, getting to the rim, dropping it back off the Hall for the layup. Once again, Dylan Hunter stepping in, coming up with a steal, and then the play ends with him attacking the basket. Just like that, the Clemson Tigers have been able to stretch out the lead because of their defense, turning 5 turnovers on the last few possessions from Virginia Tech into 8 points off turnovers and a 4-point lead.
And here's Angel with more.
Guys, we were asking the question of how the Tigers were going to generate offense without Chase Hunter, and at halftime, I heard Dylan Hunter saying to his teammates, we have to figure this out offensively. Running back with them saying, how do we get on the floor? How do we even create points in transition? To your point, Corey, making things more difficult on the defensive end, getting those easy buckets in transition.
And one of the ways they've done that, they have trapped. Whenever Virginia Tech has caught the basketball in the post, they're trapping, and guys are sinking down into those passing lanes, coming up with those steals. But again, if you're Chase Hunter right now, you want to be on the court so bad, but you have to be happy to see your little brother out there making an impact and bringing your team back into this game, getting it done defensively and offensively as well.
The second foul on P.J. Hall allows Justyn Mutts to score a couple of free throws. He's now got 8 points, 5 assists, and it's good to see Hunter Couture back on the floor as well after that big hit that put him to the floor. And again, we think it's a residual effect of that arm injury that kept him out a couple of games ago.
Yeah, we call it the elbow, but it could be forearm as well, as Couture gets out and defends Hunter Tyson on that. But when you watch Hunter Couture running down the floor, he is definitely holding that left elbow forearm very gingerly, but playing through the pain, recognizing how important this game is for his team.
Hokies trying to snap a 6-game losing streak. Clemson trying to hold on to sole possession of first place in the league. And that foul will take us to break. Should have a good finish here at Little John Coliseum. Clemson hanging on to a 2-point lead. Maddox drilled that 3-pointer as time expired in overtime to propel the Hokies to the 76-75 win. Corey Alexander, you were there.
I was on that call, and I can remember Mike Young substituting Darius Maddox into the game for Keve Aluma, immediately saying, oh, wait a minute, they're going for the win. They're going for the 3 here. And, of course, Darius Maddox, or Maddox, makes the winning bucket. Angel, you got anything on that?
Well, I know that one thing is for sure. We were talking about this with him before the game. You know, we want to make sure we put some respect on his name, on how you say it. He said his mother says Maddox, his father says Maddox. But I honestly think the woman is always right in this situation, so it's Maddox. We're going to go with that. There's that.
Yeah, I'm going with Mom.
So you're going to go with Stephanie.
Yeah.
Over Sean, who's been a Maddox his entire life. But yet Stephanie married into the family and becomes a Maddox. You guys are going to go with the person who got this name later in life.
Happy wife. Happy life. All Tigers here in the second half. The lead back to 4. That is the 4th personal foul on Kidd that sends Hall to the line.
And it is a strong finish once again for P.J. Hall going up against Lynn Kidd. The contact, the finish, the excitement here in Little John Coliseum. We talked about these two guys being teammates 3 seasons ago and now competitors. P.J. Hall winning that matchup.
Working on another big game. 18 points, 7 rebounds, 3 steals for the 6'10" junior from Spartanburg.
And I tell you, he's still not 100%. I asked him pregame, how are you feeling? He says, I'm playing. That's all that matters. But you're talking about an athletic specimen.
Down 5, Padula trying to post up Hunter, who stood his ground.
That's one of the areas where when you have Dylan Hunter on the floor, it's different than Beadle. Hunter is a taller point guard.
Shefflin sets the screen for Wiggins. Tyson, quick release. No.
Good look for Hunter Tyson, who hasn't shot the basketball well at all in this game, but still is having an impact on the glass and defensively.
Now the Hokies trying to break a long drought of their own. It's been going on 7 minutes since the last bucket, and that continues. Only 1 for their last 15 from the floor, Corey.
Well, and that's the Brad Brownell calling card. It's defense. That's everyone talks about this Clemson team and what they've done offensively this year. As P.J. Hall turns it over, great hands from Justyn Mutts. And these are really 2 really good defensive teams. Mike Young, of course, has a great offensive reputation, but defensively is really makes his name known.
Well, Clemson's #1 in the ACC in field goal defense this year, allowing the 3 ball from over the top.
MJ Collins stepping up, knocking down a big 3. Now we've got a 2-point game and a much-needed basket. You mentioned Virginia Tech only making one of their last 15 shot opportunities, but yet Clemson unable to have any type of separation.
Let's see if Wiggins can get involved on the offensive end. Over the back foul against Shefflin off the air ball. On our big Monday, ACC Big 12 college basketball doubleheader on ESPN and the app, we've got Duke and these Virginia Tech Hokies at 7 Eastern, and then we'll go to Waco. Keontae George and #21 Baylor squaring off against Jalen Wilson and #2 Kansas as the Jayhawks look to rebound from today's big loss to the Horned Frogs.
Looking forward to the Duke-Virginia Tech matchup. I'll be on that call with my guy, Dave O'Brien, the notorious D.O.B. Andrea Carter joining us in Blacksburg. And Blacksburg has been a house of horrors for the Duke Blue Devils as of late.
But they got their leader back today, the Blue Devils did, and that makes a huge difference. Jeremy Roach. Grant Basile inside. Great position for the layup. Tied 44 apiece.
And the Hokies got back into this game. Now it starts all over. As you mentioned, tied at 44 on the road. Mike Young has to be happy about where the Hokies sit with 4:53 remaining.
To me, is the point guard of the future for this program, getting an extended run with the injury to his older brother. Shefflin from the corner. No.
You know, Shefflin's turned down a bunch of threes in this game. I was wondering if he had that in him, but Brad Brownell doesn't look as though that was the shot he wanted from his team coming out of that timeout.
Yeah, Shefflin's only made 3 triples so far this year. Padula, bad pass. Here comes Shefflin and the Tigers. And another bad pass.
There's a reason why big men will tell you, well, coaches tell you, get the ball to the guards. And again, not that Shefflin can't make that play, but at this time, you want to have someone else being the guy trying to find Hunter Tyson in that corner.
Corey, that's the 16th Clemson turnover. Couture bounced it off his own foot. It's an over and back violation. Couture is trying to say it was touched, but to me, looking at it live, he dribbled it off his own foot.
And we got to mention the Virginia Tech Hokies, 6th nationally, only 9.9 turnovers per game. And right now, in crunch time, turning the basketball over, 13 turnovers for the Hokies, haven't helped them here in a hostile environment.
Shot clock down to 6. Brevin Galloway going to be called for the offensive foul. Another turnover, Clemson. Who's going to win it? Tied at 44 with under 4 on the clock. Chris, thank you. Yes, Coco is scheduled to play her match tonight here on ESPN2 at 9 Eastern. And then Jessica Pegula, the top-rated American on the women's side, scheduled for a 1 a.m. start down under. Of course, her parents own the Buffalo Bills, and she's got a split allegiance here, thinking about tennis, but also thinking about her Bills, trying to stay alive in the NFL playoffs.
I think her parents actually have the split allegiance because they're trying to figure out if they can stay up and watch their daughter play and still be on point for tomorrow's big game for the Bills against the Bengals.
The man with the basketball is a huge New York Giants fan. Both his parents are from New York City. He's looking forward to tonight's game against the Eagles once we get done here, tied at 44. With Corey Alexander and Angel Gray, I'm Doug Sherman. There is a look at Sean Padula, the sophomore from Edmond, Oklahoma. But like I said, his parents are native New Yorkers. His dad was a left-handed pitcher at Fordham University back in the day. Padula cut off, being defended by Hall. He has to bring it back out with 6 to shoot. Padula going to have to fire it. That's an air ball and another turnover. Number 14 for the Hokies. Again, a team that averages fewer than 10 per game.
And when you look at these two teams, rarely get the credit for how good they are defensively. But what we've had is a defensive battle breakout in this game. Both teams sitting with 44 points with just over 3 minutes remaining.
Another drought for Clemson. Over 4 minutes since its last field goal. During that time, they've coughed it up 3 times. And that goes as a blocking foul. No shot.
But I really love the way Dylan Hunter has come in this second half and been more aggressive and really trying to take this team by control. You know, Angel Gray mentioned the fact that in the huddle, Dylan was the one saying, hey, guys, come on, we got to get this together. And he's been the guy that's been much more aggressive here in the second half.
He was number 64 in last year's ESPN 100, originally signed with Baylor. Let's go to Angel.
Guys, we've heard the phrase built different. Well, that's exactly what the Hunter family is. It's just in their DNA to be great. We were talking about the different Hunters even on this roster. Well, we'll go back to their father, the late Bryce Hunter, who was an all-SEC wide receiver for Georgia. As that's a huge shot that's knocked down for Virginia Tech. But then also you got to acknowledge his mother as well. Brandy Decker played basketball for Georgia and was a member of 2 Final Four teams. Obviously, Dylan, and you have Chase here as well, but it's really cool to see even their brother, Jaden Hunter, at Western Kentucky, taking care of business. So it's just, they're built a little different, guys.
And Mom Brandy taking out her competitive nature on the real estate market. She is like the real estate mogul in Atlanta, while her son is taking up all the real estate in the painted area. That purple for the Clemson Tiger, Dylan Hunter has owned here as of late.
Padula retreats, has it. Under 2 minutes in regulation. Dangerous pass. Tyson got a piece of it. Basile off the great feed underneath by Mutts.
And Justyn Mutts recognized he was going to have multiple defenders jumping. Played it perfectly, dropping it off to Basile for the easy bucket.
Hokies have made 4 of their last 5 shots. Hunter Tyson pulls. No. Big stop for Virginia Tech. Mutts hands it off. Couture has a little bit of breathing room, tries to pass it, and it's taken away by Clemson. Under a minute on the clock.
You got to get the basketball into P.J. Hall's hands. He's got to be the guy that you go to at this time of the game.
Shefflin gets it to Hall. He spins along the baseline. Tough shot, and he banks it in. 20 for the big man, and it's a one-point game. Timeout, Virginia Tech.
Both teams with a tremendous amount to play for in this game. Hunter Couture scrambling after the basketball, dropping it off to Justyn Mutts, who finds Grant Basile for the easy bucket. But on the other end of the floor, nothing easy about this pass or the bucket from P.J. Hall. But it was so necessary for his team to pull within one.
Tomorrow we'll have an ACC women's basketball matinee on ABC and the ESPN app. Diamond Johnson leads number 20 NC State against Haley Van Lith and Louisville. Coverage begins at 1 Eastern on ABC and the ESPN app. Don't let those records at the bottom of the screen fool you, Corey. I don't think the fact that this is a competitive game down to the wire has fooled anybody.
It hasn't fooled anybody, and when you look at this Virginia Tech Hokies team, they are way better than a 1-16 in conference play. They had a great non-conference. They dealt with injuries, but at the same time, they're very well coached and find themselves in a position right now to be able to get a little bit of separation and see if they can get a quality win on the road.
Corey, we started the broadcast. You were talking about that a year ago, the Hokies were in a similar spot with their conference record. It took one good game, one win to turn their season around.
It absolutely did that. They did that one offensively, but if they're able to come away with a win here today, it will be because of their defense, which I'm sure Mike Young will take much more pride on. And speaking of defense, Brad Brownell, one of the best defensive coaches in the ACC and throughout the country, and right now leaning on his team to come up with a big-time stop here to get the basketball back with a chance to win this game.
Saw the Hokies have one timeout remaining. The Tigers have two. Clemson needs a stop. 12 to shoot. Basile to the block. Contact and a foul. Foul number 3 on Shefflin.
And Grant Basile recognizing the shot clock going down, not going to give the basketball up, taking matters into his own hands, and the opportunity at the free throw line.
73% on the year, calmly drills the first.
And right now, I'm sure Brad Brownell has told his team what he wants to do here, whether they're going to push it down the floor and try to get an easy bucket and extend the game, or if they'll call their timeout here to draw up something.
Basile misses. Clemson can tie it with a 2, win it with a 3. Brad Brownell says, let's call timeout and talk it over.
And whatever you do right now, if you're the Clemson Tigers, you want it going to the basket. You want the pressure on Virginia Tech to be able to defend you, but better things can happen for you when you attack the rim. You can score, you can get fouled. And I'm sure whatever Brad Brownell does, it will be something designed with the basketball touching P.J. Hall's hands and him attacking the rim.
Chauncey Wiggins is checking in as well, a three-point specialist for Clemson. P.J. Hall has been the best Tiger here in the second half.
He absolutely has that. He was the best Tiger in the first half as well, 10 points in the first half, and he's just continued with his success here in the second half and doing it primarily with strong finishes around the basket as he continues to dominate the painted area for the Clemson Tigers.
Third straight game for P.J. with 20 or more points. Do you you take the sign, or in as a sign, with Chauncey Wiggins coming into the game for Clemson, that they might go for the win here looking for 3?
Absolutely not. They bring in Chauncey Wiggins to space the floor to try to give more room to P.J. Hall. You can't help off of Wiggins, so that gives P.J. Hall more room to be able to attack the basket. If Virginia Tech does make the mistake of helping, then P.J. Hall is a very good playmaker. He can find the open guy, and now you may have Wiggins with an opportunity from 3 to win the game.
So Wiggins, the freshman from Grayson, Georgia, will inbound from the sideline. Here comes Galloway. Inbound comes to Tyson off the shot. Wide open 3 for the lead. Timeout, Hokies. And now it'll be their turn to try and respond.
P.J. Hall has been the best Tiger tonight. Hunter Tyson has been the best Tiger all year. And Brad Brownell having confidence in his 5th-year senior to go make a play. And he does just that. Hasn't shot the basketball well tonight, but he made it clear to us earlier today, one thing that Hunter Tyson never battles with is confidence. And I love the way he went to his guy, and Hunter Tyson delivered.
12 points, 8 rebounds now for Tyson. Believe it or not, that was Clemson's first 3 of the second half.
Well, they've struggled. And again, Hunter Tyson is the guy that they normally look to be able to score from beyond the 3-point arc. He struggled from beyond 3. And before that shot, he was 1 for 5 from beyond the arc, but didn't shoot it as though he was 1 for 5. Never thought anything about the other ones, stepping up and knocking down the big 3 ball.
So they put some time back on the clock to 10.8. Where do the Hokies go here, Corey?
Well, when you want to get the basketball in the hands of Sean Padula, he's your playmaker, but you want to get downhill. Once again, better things can happen for you. 2 opportunities. You've got Justyn Mutts and you've got Grant Basile. Basile is a better free throw shooter than Justyn Mutts. And of course, you're always looking for the contact and a possible foul in this spot. So you have many options if you're Mike Young, and you only need a 2 to take a lead.
And Padula is one of the best free throw shooters in the ACC as Clemson uses a timeout. It's final timeout, and so the Hokies will get one more opportunity to talk about what they'll do. Clemson trying to match it up. Well, let's show you one more time what happened between these two teams in Brooklyn last March. Darius Maddox with the game-winning 3. Could we have that sort of finish again here tonight?
Well, one thing's for certain. Mike Young knows that he has a guy that can deliver the knockout blow when necessary because he's done it before. And so when you talk about the different options that Mike Young has on the floor to be able to go to here to get him points, all 5 of the players, and actually Darius Maddox not on the floor. MJ Collins getting the minutes here down the stretch. But all options are available for the Hokies here on this last possession.
Here comes Padula with 10 seconds left in the second half. Uses the Basile screen. Couture for the lead. No! Fight for the basketball. Padula tried to put it up on the glass. And that's your ball game. In a defensive struggle, the Tigers' defense at the end gets it done.
The reaction from Mike Young after that, it seems as though he felt there was contact on Sean Padula trying to get, after getting the offensive rebound, Hunter Couture comes off, gets a good look, unable to knock it down, but Sean Padula gets in for the rebound. And I believe that's a good no call by the officials. Padula in amongst the trees. Then you see the reaction from Mike Young. He wants contact. He wants a foul on that one. But at the end of the day, from the angle we saw, it looked as though Padula was just in amongst the trees, and a great job defensively coming up with a stop for the Clemson Tigers.
A huge bounce-back win for the Tigers after losing on Tuesday at Wake Forest, their first loss of the ACC regular season.
It was fun, my man. Great to be back with you. And Angel Gray, of course.
Absolutely. Clemson improves to 8-1 in league play and stays alone atop the standings in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Final score, 51-50, Clemson over Virginia Tech. Thanks so much for watching. For Angel Gray, Corey Alexander, I'm Doug Sherman, and our entire crew. Up next, live coverage of the Australian Open.